Pink Matter was founded by Candice Chan and Patricia Nguyen in April of 2017. They started this project to serve on handcrafted smoothies and juices infused with mainly dragon fruit, which is an exotic fruit found in Central America, South America, and Southeast Asia. Their mission for Pink Matter is to use innovative ideas to create high quality, aesthetically pleasing drinks and dishes that are centered around superfoods to differentiate themselves from other juice bars. Um, their three main goals are to increase revenues by 30% every month and to increase awareness through social media and just to reach out and retaining customers around West Hollywood.
Internal part of it, they do have a good marketing campaign. They're centered on building their brand name amongst influencers on social media platforms, meaning that they kind of rely on these influencers to increase brand awareness and kind of get out there on digital media. They do currently share a storefront with a cafe, which is rent free, allowing for more profit and less costs. The cafe is a coffee shop, and they're sharing half of the space with the coffee shop for free. But the coffee shop does demand 10% of their profits, which is not a lot compared to how much rent would be. And this would allow them to have a space where they can store their products for free, or not for free, but like for a certain percentage of their profits. They can make their drinks there while they go to the farmer's market. So it's a very convenient space for them to have. Internally, they do not have the money to kind of expand their business or the employees, and it's hard to really train new hires for them and keep them in the company. They mostly rely on their interns to kind of help them with tasks such as posts on social media, watching the store, going to the farmer's market to sell products. But then these are just interns. Like, they don't really last longer than they should. And they need people who are going to be loyal to the brand, loyal to the cause, and to help them really expand their store while it's still just fairly new. For the external part, the aesthetics of the brand, such as having glass bottles and nice packaging, does increase sales. People do appreciate the fact that there was thought put into the product and that, it looks nice since most of the drinks are pretty bright and pink. A Kickstarter campaign is going to be started soon to raise funds for the eventual store. So that's an opportunity that they don't want to miss out on, and hopefully they get a lot of investors so that they can get the money needed to start up a store for themselves. However, a couple of threats would probably be the high prices do drive away potential customers. Just a juice is about $5 to $6, and their smoothies are about $8 to $9. So, they're in the market. There's a lot of other juices and smoothies out there for probably half the price, and they really need to make sure that what they have that differentiates them is high quality products, and kind of let that shine whenever they're selling their drinks to people. They also have competition with big name brands such as Press Juicery, Naked Smoothies. So it's really going to be a big threat to them. Whenever people think of juices and smoothies, they're not the first name to pop up into people's heads. And as for customers, their target market consists mostly of women from ages 18 to 35. Now, these women, Pink Matter is an active lifestyle brand, so they target people who consume healthy products and exercise. Unfortunately, since the drinks are pretty aesthetically pleasing to the eye and they're pink, men don't really fall into this target market. And the marketing that they do is primarily directed towards women, such as like Women Wellness Wednesdays or a Galentine's event, which was like a female Valentine's event they recently held. So men aren't really part of this target market. meaning that they just have just one demographic to choose from.
So some of the strengths that Pink Manor has is that they're so unique with their dragon fruit. It allows them to be different, and that consumers have to go to their business in order to get something like it. Another strength is that they are self-run, which lets them have a lot of freedom of what they do. So, for example, if they want to try a new product, or try, going to a different farmer's market, or doing different things, they have the freedom to do that instead of having rules and standards that they have to follow by. And the last strength is that their innovation, because they build their drinks around dragon fruit, they can try different products, whereas other drinks or companies have to focus on, like, say Press Juicery has to focus on getting those juices and stuff, where they can't really test as much. Some of the weaknesses they have is that they only have about probably 4 main employees and a lot of interns. So with the lack of manpower, it makes it difficult for them to keep up with demand. Candace and Patricia themselves have to be there for every making of the drinks. So manpower is definitely one of their biggest weaknesses. And second is their marketing. Their awareness, their social media is just not strong. Their presence in the market isn't strong yet, so they are unable to bring in a lot of customers. Some opportunities that they have are that they recently had an interview with Whole Foods to try to push their products into Whole Foods, which is pretty cool. But they do also partner with local yoga studios to have their products sold there. And they also could use other superfoods such as chia seeds, kale, and stuff like that to expand what they already market. And that's farther in the future, but right now their number one opportunity is expanding into more Whole Foods and stuff, companies like that. Some of the main threats they have are the threats of awareness, obviously. Not only that people don't know about them, but the fact that people don't know what dragon fruit is, because it's not a typical fruit you would find in the United States. Many people, when they see it, it looks weird, it's pink, it's just exotic. So a lot of people don't know what it is, which makes them wary of wanting to try it, and not knowing all the benefits, and this causes making it difficult for people to want to go out and try it. Another threat is that their suppliers are so low, because dragon fruit, like I said before, is not a typical fruit you would find in the United States, which means it needs to be imported. And the suppliers that can get it into the United States is very low, so they have a lot of power over Pink Matter. Instead of, oh, your prices are too high, we're going to go to someone else. It's pretty difficult to find a dragon fruit supplier. And the last threat they have is obviously substitutions, such as Press Juicery, Jamba Juice, and other juice bars like that. Although they don't have the uniqueness of dragon fruit, they are a direct threat to Pink Matter, especially because they are more established, and people will be like, oh, why would I want to go try something new when I can just go and get Jamba Juice or Press Juice or things like that.
The marketing goals and objectives. Pink Matter wants to focus on holding more events in their storefront to increase exposure of their brand. Because before they only had events at farmers markets to build awareness, but now they actually collaborate with a local coffee shop where they use the storefront together. They're also aiming to reach out to more women CEOs who are interested to invest their time and their energy into this business of serving drinks. Another goal is to utilize influencers such as Instagram and other platforms of social media where they could just build their awareness even more, and just to be able to increase their followers by 10% every week, and just on Instagram about 30% every month.
So Pink Matter's primary target market are females, aged about 18 to 30 years old. They're in the working class. Their income will average about $65,000 to $175,000 a year. And these girls are very health conscious. They love aesthetically pleasing foods. They follow food trends on Instagram. So for this one specifically, it's Pink Matter's Pattaya bowls. So everything's cut, laid out in a dragon fruit. And when you take a picture of it, it's all very colorful, bright, and it's really shareable. And it tastes great, and it's healthy. And these are just, their target market is basically millennials that aren't afraid to spend money on healthy foods and probiotic drinks. Their main product is their dragon fruit. So Candace and Patricia, the two co-founders of Pink Matter, they talk directly to their supplier, who's from Latin America, and so there's no third party involved. And they decided to pick the suppliers because it's low cost, it's fast shipping, so it guarantees freshness. And they bring this into their kitchen. So as we mentioned previously before, Pink Matter, they used to not have a storefront. It would just be like, they would have booths at events, at the farmer's market, and they would hold little like pop-up events at different locations in LA. And so right now they actually share a location with this cafe, which is like a small coffee shop, and so they use the kitchen in the back. And for that's where they do all the food prep, and then basically the co-founders run all the operations with their interns. They do all the marketing, they do all the food prep, and they do all the sales and just promoting their Pattaya bowls. So going back to the product, their main ones is the dragon fruit Pattaya bowls and juices. They also do honey rose, mint, lavender lemonade. They have rose detox water. All of this is targeting like the health conscious millennials, and they have blended Pattaya mixes, and they're also selling like avocado toasts with slices of dragon fruits on them. The rose water average around $4 a bottle. The lemonades start at $6, and then their food goes up to about $8 or $9. That's the pricing. And then online, they actually sell some of their bottled juices and lemonades in packs of 3. So that actually ranges from $7 to about like $18-50 for a 3-pack. And then, as I talked about the place before, they share a space with the coffee shop in Los Angeles. So their target market is the greater Los Angeles areas. And for promotion, they have to work on their Instagram. That's the main way to attract influencers, bloggers to go to their page, and then they'll see all the bright bowls and be like, ooh, we want to try that. Go to their store location, take pictures, and share it with their followers and fans. In addition, they still go to farmers markets, and so that's where they still do the whole promotion thing and attract local buyers, see if businesses would want them to cater, etc. And they also utilize Yelp, where Candace herself, the founder, replies to reviewers because they really need these reviews to push up their small business.
So all in all, our consultation to the business owner would be to increase sales by definitely offering more products online. We feel like if they offer more products online, they'll have a wider scope of people that they can potentially sell their product to, as opposed to in store or at the farmer's market. They definitely need to hire more people to watch the storefront and handle social media accounts, so they're not bombarded with all these tasks, and they can also focus on, one thing at a time. They should work at different farmers markets to increase exposure. Currently, they only work at one farmers market once a week, and there's a lot more other farmers markets that go on, every day of the week. So by doing that, if they do decide to venture out into different farmers markets, they can not only increase sales, but they can also increase their brand's exposure and awareness. Maybe they should increase their sustainability and be more cost efficient by changing from glass bottles to plastic bottles. The glass bottles are a lot more expensive to use as opposed to plastic bottles. And, maybe customers won't find that necessarily sustainable, and they won't agree to it as much as using plastic bottles, which, it's just easier to carry around and it's not as heavy. Maybe find another storefront to work in, one with more foot traffic and a high volume of customers. When we went to their cafe, the cafe did not really have much business. There were barely any people inside, barely people walking in. And, as amazing as it sounds to be in a storefront with a cafe and not have to pay for rent, it won't really make much sense unless the cafe does make a ton of sales. So maybe they can look for another cafe, since they already have the reputation of having good drinks and food. Look for another cafe, and potentially one with a more bigger clientele base, and that way they can produce more sales.